I'm going to start with you, Garrett. I'm always such a big fan of the kind of unreliable narrator trope in cinema. You're never quite knowing what you can or who you can believe. I just wonder if you can recall sort of first reading the script and having that same experience that the audience is having now.
Yeah, my first reactions to the script was, oh no, like that's unfortunate. Then I read the script again. I was like, God, there's something so great, but man, that's so unfortunate. And then the third time of reading it, because sometimes we do these things, and I read it, I was like, nah, shit, I think I can do something with it. It was what transcends throughout this script with the journey it takes you on really reminded me of great films like Primal Fear, but also had a wonderful dramatic element that you're invested in these characters and you're trying to figure them out, and your heart goes out to them, and on both sides, for me and for Noah's character. You can say, oh, this is unbelievable what he's doing to him, this guy's the victim, and then you can say on the other side of it that it's unbelievable what this guy's going through, he's the victim. And there's such a wonderful psychological dramatic element to all this, which made me very excited. And working with Noah, who's a tremendous actor and did a tremendous job with this character, there's so much for him to get to play with in this. So it was exciting for me to just sit back and watch him dance across the screen.
Yeah. Is it quite normal for you to read a script 3 times before you decide to take it on?
Before saying yes, sort of,
yeah.
but it's not completely abnormal. I hadn't done a lot of thrillers before. I'd been a fan of them, but hadn't done a lot of them, and so that was probably one of the first little obstacles to jump over was that really. Yeah.
And I agree with what Garrett was saying. It's a great performance, but there's an interesting contrast in your performances because, of course, Garrett's playing a character who feels like he's kind of losing his mind, whereas yours stays relatively calm. I'm just quite interested in the kind of challenge in that kind of quite restrained style of performance, to play a role who appears quite unhinged on the surface, but is quite collected and composed.
Yeah, I mean, for my character, it's kind of just questioning what is going on inside his head. Like, what are his intentions? What does he want? Is he good? Is he bad? How does he feel about Ethan? Why is he so obsessed with him? All these questions are kind of running through the audience member's head, and I'm supposed to portray that with my character. And I think having that challenge for me as an actor was so exciting, and I learned so much throughout it, and I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, because I know you guys are seasoned pros, and shooting out of kind of chronological order is something you just have to get used to as actors. But Garrett, on this project, given the journey of the character and the slow demise of his kind of psychological state, was it particularly hard if you were ever shooting kind of out of sequence?
I stray from saying hard. It was exciting. It kept us on our toes the way that hopefully the film does to the audiences. We shot the very end of the film first. It was our first days.
Wow.
And so that's an out of sequential happenstance that happens quite often that audiences don't really think of. So it can be tricky for an actor when you got your own self expectations of what you want to put down for your character, how far you want to go no matter what character. And so when your establishing day is kind of the key element of the third act, it can be even more tricky. That's when we got to face off with each other for the first time. So it really set the bar and gave you a glimpse of what the other actors were bringing to set every day. And for me to experience that with Noah, I couldn't have been more excited to go through the rest of the journey of this film with him. What he was bringing for this climactic moment, I was like, well, shit, I can't wait for when we first meet then.
So my final question to you both, I know this is not really in the spirit of the movie, but it's always nice to shout out to people who have made a difference in your lives. So I'll start with you, Noah. What teachers or kind of tutors or anyone do you hold in kind of high esteem, if any, that you think really helped shape you?
I mean, I was just talking about this earlier, but my first movie I ever worked on was with Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks, and I think just getting to watch them kind of bounce off of each other and learn from them at 10 years old, it was so infectious and such kind of, I was so malleable at that age, and being shaped by that kind of made me who I am today.
Yeah, I once shared a lift with Steven Spielberg and Tom Hanks. It was the most exciting 20 seconds of my life.
That's crazy.
Garrett, yeah, just anyone that sort of stands out for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you went with the creative onset experience sort of side of it. I was actually having a conversation with a friend last week about the actual teachers in school that really made a difference in my life. Going from my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Orvis, to when I was finally becoming a little bit studious, kept urging me to go. My fifth grade math teacher, Mr. Jensen, made me love schooling more, made me feel trusted. That was wonderful. And then my 11th grade English teacher, Mr. Bukowski, and my creative writing teacher, senior year, who was at that point Mrs. Krepler, were ones that inspired me to love the creative arts, love creative writing, love reading, love literature, and inspired me to go, and I haven't stopped since. So big kudos to them.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they're incredibly proud watching your career. I know that and the impact they must have had. But thank you so much, guys, for your time today, and best of luck with the release of the movie.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!